Wagwan masses. Welcome back to One Name Sports. And today, Prem preview. I'm gonna do my projected table and how we'll see it at the end of the season. I'll make it a little short though. I won't go through each team individually. But without further ado, let's get it started. All right, to start off, I have 5 teams grouped together, and these are the teams I think that will be battling in relegation this season. So I have West Brom, Crystal Palace, Fulham, Aston Villa, and Brighton. I don't think West Brom, I don't think they've done enough. There would be a big surprise to me if they stayed up, especially in the attacking realm. They didn't bring in a striker. It seems like a very similar situation to what Norwich did last year. Crystal Palace, they've been on the cusp of being relegated every year. I feel like this season they're going to be gone. I know they just brought in Batshuayi, so they could improve on what I thought they were going to do a couple of days ago, but we'll see. Fulham, again, another team that I think hasn't spent enough money. I don't know if they're holding on to their funds, or they think they're good enough already, but I don't see it being a good year for them. Villa barely escaped being relegated on the last day in the bubble. They did bring in Ollie Watkins. I do rate him as a player. I've heard good things. He is the EPL Player of the Year, but unproven. They also didn't shore up the defense, which I think was a major issue for them. So I don't think they've done enough to improve on where they were last year. And I really don't rate Grealish like that. You know, that $80 million price tag that they slapped on him to come to Man U, it's insane. Lastly, Brighton, again, same thing. They just haven't done enough for me. Lallana is not really that good. Bringing him in for free, it doesn't really improve their chances for me. So that's how I see it right now. It can go in any which order, but I think for sure West Brom is down. The other 4, they can swap around, but I definitely see them as the worst teams in the division right now. The next group that I have, these are a couple of them are underperformers. A couple of them were overperformers from last year. But starting off, I have Sheffield, West Ham, Burnley, Newcastle, and Leeds. Now, starting off Sheffield, I just feel like last year was a fluke. They won't be able to repeat that. I do like their coach, but they lost their best player, which was Henderson. They did bring in that keeper from Watford, but there was a reason he went down. That's all I'm going to say, Ramsdale. He's decent, but whatever. And they haven't done enough, I feel, especially in attack. They maybe got 10, 15 goals from their entire forward line throughout the entire season last year. That's just not enough. You need to bring in someone that's going to give you some goals, and they didn't do that. West Ham are serial underperformers. Again, they have the schedule of death to start off the year. They didn't really bring in anybody, again, per se. And I feel like there are a couple of teams that are better than them. So I don't see them in relegation trouble like they were for a big part of last year. But I see them in that lower half of the table. Burnley, again, I think underperformed last year. I mean, it's a couple years in a row now that they've performed well, but I think the teams around them have improved more. Pope is still a great player. You know, their forward line, they still have 3 decent forwards, but again, I don't think they've improved enough. So I think they'll be just stagnant again. Above them, Newcastle has made some moves. They brought in Frazier and Wilson, but they're not really top tier. They're an improvement from what they had. But there's a reason that they went down, or the team that they were on, Bournemouth, went down. So I see them again being in that higher mid-table area. Above Newcastle, I say it would be Leeds. Leeds, to me, Bielsa is coming in with a big reputation. They're talking big. They seem as if they want to do what Sheffield and what Burnley did the last couple of years. So I see them kind of swapping positions based on just the fact that they're aiming a little bit higher. They seem a little bit hungrier. I also do rate Rodrigo. He did have a bad season last year for Valencia, but I think he'll fit the Prem pretty well. He's an active forward, way better than Bamford or whatever his name is that they have. It won't be as wasteful. They do have a very creative midfield, a lot of younger players. So I do see them performing and getting that number 11 spot. I don't see them breaking into the top 10, but it would be surprising to me if they ended up in the relegation battle. I think they've made some good moves, and we'll see how they go in this upcoming season. Now, on to the top 10. All right, starting with number 10, I have Southampton. I don't think it was a fluke what Danny Ings did in this season that just passed. They also have the number 10 now. His name escapes me at the moment. That kind of finally woke up, started getting some goals at the end of the bubble. So I do think they have enough attacking force. I do think that will carry them a little bit further. So I can see them, to me, they're a little bit better than Leeds. So I can see them touching that 10th spot. Number 9, I have Leicester. I think they have a problem. I think what we saw in the bubble wasn't a fluke. They're too reliant on a couple players. Vardy's a little bit older. Iheanacho isn't good enough. Maddison is, collecting these injuries. They lost Chilwell. It's a little disjointed at the moment. I don't think they've also brought in enough players in order to improve and fix the problems that made them fade so hard last year. So I just see a couple other teams jumping above them, one being the next team, which would be Wolves. Wolves, they brought in players. It's the Portuguese national team over there. So they're constantly recruiting new Portuguese players. And I think their performance in the league will also benefit from the fact that they're not playing in Europe this year. So all those resting and rotation that Nuno was doing, that's done for. It's all first team pushing forward in order to hit all these league games. So they're going to be a tough team. This is a mix right here between Leicester and my 7th place team, which is Everton, where either they can switch around. It depends on their form, but Ancelotti is a serial winner. He's won leagues in every country that he's played in. He has a couple Champions Leagues on his belt. He's a phenomenal manager. Everton stole him and convinced him of this project, and they've brought in some really, really good pieces, some Champions League level pieces. James, Alan, that midfield, which was so inconsistent. The only main performer for them last year was Andre Gomez. He'll have help. He'll have Alan beside him. You won't have to worry about Alex Iwobi anymore and Theo Walcott and Bernard. You have genuine quality in James Rodriguez. Sigurdsson, faded. I don't know what's going on with him, but with James in there, if he can get fit and get that consistent game, he can be a game winner for them. And he will be feeding Richarlison, who I feel like is still their best player, no matter who they've brought in. And if he plays with the same force that he did last year, I can see him easily hitting maybe the upper teens in goals, maybe 17, 18, because he'll get fed like easily by James. So just quality of deliveries and chances will just be a lot better. Now moving to my number 6, and this is where things start to get sticky. That England is basically a Big 6. So I have the same Big 6 taking up all the major spots. But starting at number 6, I'm going with Tottenham. Love Mourinho. It's one of my coaches. Coach Manu gave us a Europa League. He has trophies in the cabinet. Let's put it like that. But Kane, I love Kane. He's starting for my FPL. But they're too reliant on him. I don't feel like they've done enough to replace the golden era, Eriksen, Dele, that kind of core that they had. Also, not really any improvements in defense. They still have Alderweireld, they have Sanchez. They have a really good team, but I just don't feel like they're deep enough. And playing Europa League, that's a lot more games. You need to have that rotation. You need a second striker. You need, other pieces. And I don't think they've done enough. They did get Doherty, which is a huge improvement on Serge Aurier. Aurier was, at one time rumored to be coming to Man U to take up our right back spot. He's a really good runner. He really good movement, but he's inconsistent. Sometimes he has these mental lapses, and Doherty's just a proven attacker. Defensively, he will be tested, but he has a good size. He'll be able to support all the wingers that Tottenham has, and he has experience in Europe as well. He played last year, so that's a good pickup. But I do see them at the 6th best team in England. Now, number 5, Arsenal. I love Arteta, what he's doing. They do seem as if they do believe in him, and he just got promoted from head coach to first team manager. I'm not sure really what that means, but the team seems to have a coach that believes in him, and he knows the culture, and he has a direct idea of what he wants to do. I also think he's a better coach than Ole. Don't kill me, Man U fans, but I do think so. But their team isn't quite to the level as yet, just because I feel like they haven't done enough to shore up that defense. They bought a lot of pieces, but a lot of unexperienced pieces. So Saliba, Gabriel, they're great, but I don't know how well they'll be able to cope with England. I need a big name. They also got a free agent or turncoat, whatever you want to call him, Willian. I don't see how Willian fits. They have so many right wingers. He's going to take game from Pepe and Saka. Then if you're going to play maybe 2 out of 3 of them, then Aubameyang's on the other side. So then you switch him to the middle. So then what happens to Nketiah and Laka? It's a lot to figure out, but I do think they'll be consistent enough, just have that belief within the team in order to push forward and get up to 5th. I don't see them going beyond that, but we shall see. That group right there, this mix is very tight. Now, to the top 4. All right, so in the first, or is it last, Champions League spot, I'm going with Chelsea. Chelsea they are the spending career mode, real life kings at the moment. They're buying everybody, which it's fun to see. It's great to see. They're buying up a lot of talent. My biggest issue is love Lampard. Seems really good. Love him as a player more than I do as a manager. The issue is he now has a lot of personalities on his table. He's brought in a lot of pieces that are better than what he had, but what he had also carried him through the league last year and took him to the Champions League. You have Euros coming up next year. The year after that, we have the World Cup. A lot of these players were playing 30, 35, 40 games last year for you. You put all this confidence in the Mason Mount and the Tammy Abraham and the Tomori, who got loaned out. But you have all these players that you put so much game time and responsibility on, and now they're out of the team because you brought in Kai Havertz and Timo Werner and Hakim Ziyech. And, you have all these players now that are supposed to be getting, 40, 50 games a season, barring injury. So where is the rotation going to happen? Champions League, you want a stronger team for Champions League. Typically, if you looked at Man City or you look at Liverpool last couple of years, you're really only rotating certain positions. You're using a squad of maybe 18. Lampard right now has a squad of maybe 26 players that he can pull from because they're all similar pool. So all your new signs are going to get played, and I feel like he's going to get in trouble. A lot of these players are going to, be screaming for game time and want to get loaned out and want to get moved on, just because they need that game time that they're now used to. It's just not going to work for someone like him. Moving up for 3rd place, I actually have Liverpool. Now, I'm not going to lie. I'm a Man U fan. I hated the fact that they won the league last year, but they did a great job. They were by far the best team over the last 18 months. So, they did what they're supposed to do. They won the league. Can't change the past. But Klopp has been talking a little bit cocky, I want to say. Oh, I can't buy any players because anyone we buy has to understand that there'll be a squad player or a role player for my team. Huh? You pass on Timo Werner at I wouldn't say discount, but a cheaper price because you don't want to upset the balance of your team? You have clear deficiencies in your side. Like, you needed, someone to compete with Robertson. You need, why are you not picking up Thiago? Why did you not pick up Timo Werner to give some competition to Bobby Firmino? Origi's not a good enough backup. This is your third year in a row pretty much using the same 15, 18 players. It'd be nice to, change up the squad a little bit. And I feel like that's going to come to hurt him. Not because his expectations are dropping, but you have a squad of players that have won everything. That level of concentration that they maintained for 2 years, it's exhausting. And there are times this year where those lucky 1-0 and 2-1 and last minute wins that they have, it won't happen because the hunger isn't there. You're a little more tired. You're like, I did this already. And I feel like they're going to falter off. And they will make Champions League because they're good enough to do that. But I don't see them, winning the league again. In second place, we have my team. I see those young players. I see them having the hunger. I wish we did bring in Sancho. If we brought in Sancho, I'd be a lot more confident in that second place. But with how the side is set at the moment, and the ransom that Dortmund is trying to place on us to bring Sancho I'm completely fine with my team. With Van de Beek in there, I can see us using a 4-4-2. And we'll be fine. We have the depth there, bringing Igalo and switching Greenwood for Rashford, and we'll have that dynamic midfield in order to feed both of them. So I can see it working in that way, and I feel like over this season we'll be able to push up there. I don't know. There's two ways I see. Obviously, if Man U second and Man City, I have them winning the league. But obviously, I see if Man City goes back to what they are and the Pep decides that he wants to concentrate on the league, they're going to run away with it. It's just based on the style of play that they do. But I can see Man U getting that second spot again, fighting, going to that another level, and then, with an addition of Sancho or just that extra piece of quality in the attacking front. If we get Sancho, best believe we're pushing City. But I do think City is just the strongest team in the division. They have just quality all over the place. So barring some significant injuries, I do see City winning, and that's how I have it. Here's another look at my entire table. Just a couple of those groups. The bottom 5 group is a little shifty. That I'll say that 8 or 9 to 7 group is a little shifty, and that 3 to that not really 3, that 6-5. Yeah, 6-5-4 group is a little shifty as well, but here's how I have it. If you have any other thoughts, drop them below. Let me know if I'm completely wrong. Let me know how you see the table, what teams you have being relegated, and you can give me your top 4 as well. Thank you again. This has been One Name Sports. Please like, subscribe, and share. Until next time.